Good morning, good afternoon, dear viewers, friends, and colleagues. Welcome to the Innovative Sustainability channel. So today we have our guest, Dr. Sarmad Hanif, and he is joining us from Dubai. So he will be talking about his vision and perspective on the sustainability in pharmaceutical industry using real-life examples from previous experience and sharing his thoughts on where the speed and efficiency and quality, of course, can be supported, while at the same time, cost reduction can take place. So just briefly to introduce Dr. Sarmad, he got his PhD at Al Ghar Muslim University, specializing in biochemistry. He also has attended the course of hygiene and tropical medicine at London School of Hygiene and Tropical Medicine, short course in technology and epidemiology. He started as a consultant at Riyadh Techno Valley, and then he followed his career to the Hilleman Labs, where he progressed from associate scientist all the way to senior scientist. And then he went to the company called Technivention Life Care, situated in New Delhi. And he was the senior research scientist and then strategy consultant. So, Dr. Sarmad, welcome to the channel, and the floor is yours. Looking forward for your presentation today. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. Marina, for giving me the opportunity. I'm so glad to be here. And I'll be discussing about the sustainability aspects for vaccines and biologics design. And let us go ahead and maybe I can start the presentation. Thank you.
Coming up.
So
Great.
can you see the
Perfect.
presentation?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
okay, perfect. So should I start?
Yes, please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you so much again, Dr. Marina, and I'm so glad to be here and to be with all the viewers. Thank you so much. We'll be speaking on in these slides about sustainable practices for vaccines and biologics design. Now, this is my first slide, which talks about the evaluation criteria, how the vaccine antigen or any biologics, they are generally or typically selected. Coming on to the figure one, which is the conceptual model of the socioeconomic systems, you can see three circles, which is one of the stakeholders, consumers, and firms. They all are interrelated, having different, parameters or aspects associated with them. It can be demographic, economic, legal, technical aspect, the infrastructure, the ecological, the social, and the political. All these are related for the development of any product. And the companies, they take into consideration, apart from the stakeholders and the consumers, all these parameters. Now, coming on to the figure two, which is the pyramid of hierarchy for the target selection, involves going on from the bottom side is the corporate strategy, where the higher management, like the CEOs or the board of the companies or the entities, they sit and decide about what antigen and what should be the strategy. This is connected to the business strategy, which is thereby connected to the research and development strategies, where the research managers, research directors are involved. The business strategy is there, and then they decide about the portfolio balance. Portfolio balance is dependent on the strategy of the company, whether it is in the HIC, LMIC, working for the HIC, that is the high income countries, or the low middle income countries, whether it's a startup or well-known multinational companies. That is where they balance the portfolio. And then finally, the target selection is done in terms of the product, be it a vaccine or a biologic. So this is how it goes from the bottom till the top for the target selection. Now, coming on to the second slide, this is evaluation criteria 2. Although it is less complex, but then this is also very important in terms of it has three aspects, or I would say three buckets. First is health impact, novelty and feasibility, and then the commercial value. For the health impact, generally what companies see is that what is the health coverage, or it can be for the unmet medical need, or for both. That also depends on the strategy of the company, whether they are having the health coverage for a particular demography, may not be the unmet medical need, but then they are working on it. Or for example, if the company is working for any unmet medical need, for example, neglected tropical diseases, which is common for some geography or for some demography, it depends on them, or maybe both. It depends on the strategy. The second part of the health impact is the HICs or the LMICs, or both. Again, it depends where the company is located, what is their strategy, what they want to produce. Is it for the higher income countries, more inclined, or for the lower middle income countries, for example, African countries or the Asian countries, or for both? Now comes the second or the middle part, which is the novelty and feasibility. The uh, product may be novel, but then they have to see how feasible it is. Because sometimes I may give an example that there are multiple serotypes, multiple serogroups, and it may not be feasible to have such a vaccine, such a therapeutic, particularly suitable in reducing the disease burden. So they, apart from the innovative approach the company is taking, they have to see whether how feasible the process is. If the process is not feasible, then it is difficult to take the product ahead. So, in terms of the innovative vaccine or the improved vaccine or the therapeutic, it is highly relevant that they have to see the feasibility of the product. They have to see the feasibility of the process also, and this is dependent on the technical aspect of the company. The third is the commercial value. We all know that companies, they work for the profitability, although they are also working for the health impact, for the welfare of the mankind. But then commercial value is very important. So for the commercial value, the size of the target population is very important. What kind of population they are targeting? Is it elderly? Is it like adolescents, adults, or infants, or for everybody? For example, Streptococcus pneumoniae, it is present in the less than 2 years of age, and it is also prevalent, more prevalent in the elderly. So Streptococcus pneumoniae, the size of the target population, the area is wide. It's a wide spectrum. Like sometimes the target population may be little narrow, so they have to see and work accordingly and look directly to the commercial value, which is related to the target population. Now, the B part is the HICs, which is the higher income countries. The disease burden is related mainly to the higher income countries, or to the Gavi market. Gavi market, in the sense, Gavi is the Vaccine Alliance, Global Alliance for Vaccines and Immunization, which procure the vaccines at a lower price, and then they give it to the lower and middle income countries. So there, the profitability may be different compared to the HICs, but then the health impact will be higher. All these things are interrelated, and then they have to be considered before coming on to a decision. So this is evaluation criteria 2. Now going on to the next slide, it talks about the sustainability aspects in terms of the uh, product life cycle. What can be done, where it can be done at different stages. This is a circle having from 1 to 7 different aspects involved in the production of antigen, be it vaccine or therapeutic, and how we can have the sustainability and even making a positive impact on the environment. keeping in terms of thinking in terms of the green chemistry as well. So first is the product design, which involves green chemistry, because green chemistry will be having less of waste, less of energy will be utilized. The We'll be having more kind of good ecosystem, positive environment will be there. Then comes the raw materials. It is advisable generally that we should consider non-animal components or plant-derived substitute compared to the animal components which are being utilized in the raw material. So it is advisable. It will be directly related to the sustainability aspect. Third is the manufacturing, where we can have solvents which will make us more sustainable, and obviously they'll be giving profits also. The enzymatic processes, the active pharmaceutical ingredients should be kept in mind in terms of the manufacturing, that they are sustainable. We should also think about the carbon emissions and the waste and water usage. They all are very important. Now comes the packaging. The packaging should be kept in mind, keeping sustainability at the forefront. That is, the redesigned packs and devices in terms of the packaging should be sustainable. Now comes the distribution, which involves the freight and the container optimization. These days, advanced technologies, advancements have been made in terms of the distribution, and sustainability is at the forefront. Now comes the patient use, that is the digital information and reduced carbon emissions. So it is advisable to have AI there for the patient use in terms of the electronic footprint. It is more advisable compared to any kind of technology which is giving us problems for the environment. Now comes the recyclable packaging, inhalers and syringes for the disposable. They are very important in terms of the waste generation, because we should keep it in mind right at the very beginning that we should not generate too much of waste rather than generating waste and then clearing it. So it will involve one more step and will cause damage to the environment. So instead of that, it is important to generate less of waste and then have positive impact on the environment. So in terms of the product life cycles, there are various areas involved which are interrelated. The companies can work on all the seven aspects, or maybe at one or two aspects, which will reduce the cost, have the efficiency, everything should be there, making positive impact on the environment, and good processes. Now, This is this slide is very important. It talks about the cost parameters, and it is a case of an mRNA vaccine, although it can be applied to different vaccine modalities. It's a pie chart. It shows different percentages which are involved in the development of a product. If you see, the highest percentage is 49, deep blue, which is the capital cost. It involves equipment cost, estimate, which is the installation, pipe work, HVAC, power, building, and validation. This is having 49%. Now comes the 10% cost, which is pink in color, and it involves the media buffers, cleaning chemicals, solids, and water for injection, which is WFI. Third is the consumables, which is 3%, involves the filters, membranes, the chromatography, if it is involved in the purification of the product, and the single-use components. Single-use components are very important these days and should be considered at all at in most of the processes, and I would always recommend that use of the single use components should be there in the processes. Now comes the labor, production staff, quality staff, and other staff. Here I want to make a very important point that for the labor, for the production staff, the quality, and the other staff, it should be skilled and having the expertise. They may be little costly. They appear to be costly at the initial moment, but then they will be saving so much of cost. I'm not going into the numbers, just giving you an example that they will be saving so much of cost for the company. Because if you take staff which is less skilled, less having less of expertise, they'll be making more errors. You will be requiring more validations, more troubleshooting,
They
which will
work there.
increase process. Yeah, they will increase the process cost. So it is always advisable that to have skilled and expertise, skilled labor and people, those who are having the technical know-how, to be included in the staff for the process development. The other cost is it is there, that is the insurance, engineering, maintenance of the infrastructure, that is engineering and spare parts, and other utilities which are required and mandatory for the process development and for the up and running of the uh, lab, or for the facility which is producing the product. Okay. This slide is actually very important. Describes about the potential areas for cost reduction. This figure 6 is basically a generic flow diagram for the vaccine antigen. It involves the upstream, which is the production of the antigen or the molecule. Then the downstream, which is having the purification chromatography or the purification of the molecule. Then the last part is the formulation and fill and finish. So more or less, there may be a difference in the therapeutic upstream, downstream, and the formulation, fill, finish, and a little different in vaccine, but more or less they are the same. So these are the areas where the cost reduction in terms of the technical aspect can be done. That is, for the production bioreactors, if you have the media where you can utilize the animal component free media or any of the plants substitutes which are increasing the yield, they will ultimately reduce the cost and give higher profitability. Ultimately, they may appear to be costly or they may not be costly, but then they will increase the yield. So less of raw materials will be involved, and then profit will be high. Same applies to the downstream, wherein a diligent approach should be utilized for the selection of the chromatography resins, whether they are required, whether they are mandatory, or for the polishing steps also, what all chromatography is required, what all can be avoided, that has to be judiciously decided. Third part is the formulation and fill and finish. Formulation is very important because these days companies and entities, they are working on thermostable compounds, be it vaccines, be it antigens, be it therapeutics. So some of the formulation buffers which can avoid and give us thermostability, which can avoid the cold chain, that is very important. Because cold chain is not the technical aspect but cannot be avoided. It gives a huge cost for the product. If it can be avoided without sacrificing the quality, speed, efficiency, or the quality of the product, that is very good. Because if you take the particular example of African regions, there may be some areas where the cold chain cannot be maintained. So if we have processes or products which are thermostable, that will be so good, and it will reduce the cost. Now, last but not the least, profitability and sustainability depends on these four arrows. Three arrows are up, which should always be up. Even if you are reducing the cost, the quality, speed, efficiency should be maintained. It will give you a it will be giving you a good reputation of the company, as well as you are working on the cost reduction. But then these three arrows should always be up compared to what you were doing earlier and compared to what you are doing now. Cost can be reduced, but these three should be maintained. That is quality, speed, and efficiency. So this will increase the profitability, will give you the sustainability, and will give you a good reputation as well. Okay. Now, this is about the summary and conclusion in terms of the manufacturing processes. If you see on the left-hand side, it gives the details about the go, no-go decision in terms of the target selection. Target selection has to be decided about the antigen should be conserved, it should be immunogenic, and then you should utilize computational methods, reverse vaccinology, to avoid unnecessary in vitro, in vivo testing. Then portfolio balance has to be there. That is the high risk projects, high reward, or low risk projects. That is dependent on the strategy of the company. Now comes the R&D strategy. R&D strategy is kind of related to the platform technologies. You have to think, the companies have to think. The antigen may be there, but what is the most suited, most advisable, and most feasible platform? Preclinical, clinical programs should also be kept in mind because clinical trials are very costly. Sometimes the clinical trials may be difficult for some of the diseases. That has to be kept in mind. The manufacturing formulation is always there. Then we have the business development strategy, which involves the market analysis, the partnerships, and the licensing, the financial planning and investment. That is actually very important. Now coming on to the right hand side boxes, which involves green chemistry. Green chemistry should be kept in mind always because it is extremely important for sustainability and for the profitability, and I would say the reputation of the company. We should think about the waste reduction and management cost. It is very important. Having less of waste, less of problems, more positive impact for the environment, less of cost for the company as well. So minimizing waste lowers disposal cost and associated environmental liabilities. This is extremely important. I would say waste reduction and management cost should always be kept in the mind. Now comes the improved process efficiency. This involves the increment in the process yield. That is obviously directly related to the less of raw material used. This will be a great add-on, a great positive point in the processes, and will also reduce the cost. The second is the rapid processes. They save time, make process more cost effective. It may appear initially that it is having higher cost, rapid processes, having raw materials, which is having higher cost, but then ultimately it will have impact on the labor cost. It will have impact on the processes. That is in terms of the cost reduction, streamlined processes, validation, uh, having validated processes, streamlined processes, have production with smaller footprints. This is also very important. Now comes the third part, which is the safer solvents and reagents. So under these, we have replacing hazardous solvents and reagents with safer bio-based and less toxic alternatives. They should be kept in mind, and these are all related to the green chemistry having positive impact on the environment. It reduces the material cost, workplace risk, safety for your staff, environmental contamination is not there, lower insurance cost, expenses related to personal protective equipments. These may appear as points, but they become huge, huge in terms of the positivity for the environment and in terms of the streamlined processes, in terms of reducing the cost. So they all should be kept in mind while deciding and going ahead for the development of any product. Energy efficiency involves processes which reduces energy consumption and associated utility bills. For example, if you are having a process which is giving you high yield, it means you will be having higher doses. It means that you will be utilizing less of energy compared to what you were doing earlier. So these things are very important and should be kept in mind always. Now, use of renewable feedstocks, use of non-animal sources for the process development reduces carbon footprint, carbon emissions. Less of carbon emissions should be there, and companies should think of having renewable products in their processes so that they are giving back. We owe to the environment. What we have taken from the environment, we should give back in a positive manner. Now comes the regulatory and reputational benefits. They are very important. Regulatory is very important because you have to go to the regulatory authority for the approval of your product, and for that, if the regulatory authority sees that you have worked on non-animal sources, you have reduced the energy, you have used safer solvents, you have higher process efficiency, that will be very good. And then it will enhance your reputation. The company will be like taken in a very good manner. It will give you, people will think that this company is having working with the whole integrity, honesty, and having a good reputation will be there for you. Now, the last but not the least, green chemistry minimizes environmental impact, thereby increasing efficiency, safety, regulatory compliance, and above all, the reputation of the entity. So all these things, we started from the technical part, so many different
Yes, yes.
socio-economic models, but then ultimately it is important that what we are doing and what we are giving back to the society, what we are giving back to the environment. Yeah.
Thank you so
Okay.
much. Yes, I
Thank
think
you.
it's
Thank you
very
so much.
thorough. It's giving this perspective both from hardcore like R&D, process development, but and also thinking about the economy and really how we impact the ecosystem, the society, the people, the environment, and sustainability. First of all, yes, of course, it's what we leave to our next generation, and also for them, it's learning, right? Like whatever you teach, that's what we will reap, right, in their minds and how they pace themselves in the future. That's also like takes place here. I would like to go back to one of your slides where you have a circle for the sustainability. I think yes, this is very very nice, very nicely put. I know the last slide is very detailed, like with lots of aspects touched, but here I think it's and even for viewers, for those who are new to this topic and those who are very savvy, I think it's very nice, clear representation what we're looking at. And in terms of packaging, I saw a lot of effort while attending a food manufacturing conference here in Dubai, how they approach like thinner plastic. They work with suppliers, how they want to recycle it. So they really striving for the circular economy. In your experience, can you have any examples, like whatever you could share in terms of here? I think we have maybe not too much time, but maybe like a couple of minutes. Could you please elaborate?
For the
Thank you
circular,
so much.
you are saying?
For
For the
example, on the
packaging material?
packaging, yes, you also mentioned about the temperature, meaning to have formulations that are good with room temperature or maybe with higher temperatures, more sustainable to avoid cold chain. Would you please talk about them if you have examples that okay to share?
Yes, sure. So some of the excipients in the formulation,
Mhm,
they have the ability to give the thermostability to the
mhm,
product. And for that, obviously, you have to do the stability studies at different temperatures in the while you are making the product. So side by side, I think the companies can do the stability studies and also look for excipients and also look for the formulation buffers, which can give you the thermostability, that is keeping the product at 2 to 8. This is, sorry, keeping the product at room temperature. This will reduce, yeah, this
mhm.
will reduce the cost, huge cost involved in the 2 to 8 degrees, that is the cold chain management. That is very important. The second thing which you said is about the packaging and designing. Recyclable materials, I think, should be used,
Mhm.
and it involves uh, the materials which can be degraded, in the sense degradable after the use, and then they can be reutilized.
Reutilize. So it's like you reutilize internally. For example, I
Yes.
know there are some companies like, for example, the company I worked previously, Sanofi, they now on the Canadian side, they have a water plant, which is basically recycling the water. So right away, you could, back to the resources, maybe utilities, but not actually just utilities. The water is a main thing you use for vaccine formulation. So this water is getting recycled and reused. So there are many aspects, of course, and plus what you mentioned. I think one more thing, if we move to the next slide, I know it's telling me that it's about to finish, but I think this diagram, I want to stress viewers' attention. It's really was new and maybe very revealing to me that we often think that the cost of production is often relates with people, with skilled workers. But what I'm seeing here is that 49% is with equipment, 13% is actually with utilities and engineering costs, and only 25% is with people. But then another one is very interesting. I think you stressed that the single use. Single use is getting more and more popular, but I think also what it does reduce is reducing the cost of validation because many companies they spending time and effort to validate the cleaning, right? After like special fermentation, cleaning for the column. All this requires a lot of effort and a lot of water and plus reagents, like mainly water, but also reagents like cleaning reagents. So it all goes into waste, like you mentioned, generates waste, and then we think what to do with. So here, although just 3%, and not even all of that is 3%, just partially single users there, I just want to stress viewers' attention that this option can help to decrease the cost because another hidden part is validation, which is always costly. It involves people and equipment and time. And so something very interesting, I think in the slides, this is to
Thank
stress
you.
attention. Yes.
Yeah.
Um, Anything else you would like to add? I think we have maybe a minute or two and then we'll wrap up.
Yeah. So my final comment will be that we should keep working on the product development and should see that the processes are, validated, and they should be feasible, keeping in mind the environment, the target population, and for me, health impact is very important. And I think you would have the same kind of thoughts that health impact is very important. But then the random ecosystem is there, the environment, we should think about that also while we
Yes.
are developing the technologies. Yes.
Absolutely right. I think when you mentioned commercial aspect that companies work for profit, this we can put under sustainability of the industry, right? So if they
Yes.
generate profit for the sake of development, because yes, partially goes for the needs like utilities payment and maintaining the basically equipment and consumables and active reagents. And of course, paying salary and stakeholders for the profits as well. But at the same time, it's their sustainability to stay in business, to maintain high quality, to be there. But at the same time, there are other players. So, there is environment, there is patients that are expecting medicine. So this sustainability means uninterrupted supply of the
Yes.
medicines that go to patients. So this all comes like intertwined, all connected, very complex. But I think in the very few slides, you made a good case how to look into that and basically highlights where to dig deeper so that, again, whoever is new to the topic could read and understand more. And those who were experienced, at least maybe something is new. Like for me, these diagrams were, refreshing and novel, and also give different glance on the events, on the aspects that you think but in fact, we always learn every single time. So thank you so much. It was very
Thank
educational, very,
thank you.
innovative, and thank you for your contribution. And I hope to
Thank
see you again. Thank you.
thank you
And
so
to the
much. Thank
viewers,
you.
yes. To the viewers, stay tuned, subscribe to my channel, and thanks again to Dr. Sarmad. Bye for now.
Thank you. Bye.